Welcome to Heart Art, where we create art that has heart. Today I wanted to talk to you about what I have in my travel kit, what I like to take around with me. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the different books, and I generally like to take a sketchbook, but recently I've been really into the watercolors and taking them around with me and playing around when I have a chance. So I first got this back at Hobby Lobby around Christmas time, and they only had two of them, so I snagged both. It's actually a book that is an accordion style. One side is the backing. It doesn't have as much tooth on the watercolor, and the other side does. So what I did was I started painting just crazy watercolors. So I'm ready to now add my designs to it and things like that, but it just opens up into this great big accordion. So I'm not sure if I want to put photos on there or drawings or a little bit of both, but I thought that would be a really good travel photo book as well. Either way, I thought that was kind of cool. So I already did the watercolor in that one. The next few I haven't got to use yet, but they were my next stop. So this is a Moleskine watercolor journal, and it opens up here, and you've got a place to write down what you want your address and things like that to be, but then you can also do it up and down. It's got a great tooth to it, so I'm excited to play around with that one. And it's got the rubber band so I can make sure everything stays nice and secure and everything. The next one is also by Moleskine, and I'm really excited about this. The next time we go on travel, hopefully this summer, I'll use it. It's actually a notebook inside of an envelope, and so it's ready to mail the second you get done. So I thought that'd be really cool and kind of have it as a scrapbooking thing after it makes its way back all the way through the mail and everything. You can buy it in this maroon, and I think there was also a tan. I'm not sure if they have any others out. I just got most of the stuff on Amazon, so there's lots of different options out there that I'm not even aware of yet, I'm sure. So that looks pretty cool. It's even got the thread binding and everything on there, so there's a couple different pages. The last one here I actually got at Hobby Lobby on sale because they were getting rid of them. They've got a bunch of these Postcard watercolor books. I'm sure you could just use color pencil on them too, but they're actually built for watercolors. And so what I started doing was testing out the colors that I had bought, because I bought this new watercolor set on these, and they're just optical illusions, so you can play around with whatever you want on them. But I just started playing with the colors to see what I liked, what I didn't like, and actually on the back of each one it is also ready to mail. You just put your stamp on and you can write in your little message to whoever you wanted to. So I thought that would be great for vacation also. So those are the travel books that I take. The next things that I take with me, I found this travel pencil and I am in love with it. It actually is a B, but it's by the same people that do a lot of my other watercolor supplies and paint supplies, and it actually has a sharpener on the end. It comes about this size. I don't think I've actually sharpened it yet. It comes about this size, so it's a little short for me, but the point of it is that you can actually put this on the end and it weights it down, and it just has a great feel to it to actually be able to draw and doodle with and things like that. And then you can cover your point, so if it's nice and sharp, you're not worried about it breaking in your bag. It's great. You can actually hook it onto your bag or your pocket or whatever you would like to. So this has been a great addition to my kit so far. The next thing was I wanted to start playing around with more brush pens, and so I got this one, and it's got a nice flow to it. It actually is refillable, and so it's got the thing on it to attach to things, but it also has the refills by Pentel, and so I can actually keep this with me, and I keep the refill as well just to take along with me just in case. This is one of my favorite pencils. It's just by Papermate, but for some reason I absolutely love it. It's got the retractable eraser, things like that, so I can play around. And I usually try to get a 0.5, but this is actually my 0.7 that I keep in my backpack. So this just goes with me even to school when I'm teaching. I love these. They are a little more on the expensive end for just a regular mechanical pencil, but that's fine. Because I use it so much. The last kind of pen that I take with me is actually by Uni-ball, and it's the white pen that I use, and it works extremely well for highlights, touch-ups, if I mess up in an area, things like that. Usually happen when you're on the go with your watercolor, so it's great to take with me. And it's a Signo, a Uni-ball Signo, and there's lots of different kinds, but this has been my favorite white pen so far, and it's just a normal gel white pen. You can also buy them on Amazon. The last thing as far as drawing supplies that I take is this new eraser, and I just got it along with the other pencil. I just thought this was super cool because you can actually roll it back in and nothing can happen to it. It's got a nice edge to it. You can see I started using it just a little bit there. but it's so compact it can just go in your pocket and you can go on your way, which is great. So I've been loving it. It's got a good erase to it. Doesn't have a bunch of crumbs, just normal eraser, which is great. Then I went and I found this travel paintbrush set, and it comes in this little vinyl plastic box, but I don't really use that for that purpose anymore. Let's take the paintbrushes out here and set the box aside for a second. This is what the paintbrushes come in. So they come in 2 kits basically. So I just use the packaging, and you can actually pull on this string and it makes it into a little teepee kind of thing here, and you can actually have it sitting up wherever you're at. You can lay it down. It's got a little pocket down at the bottom, and then it's got all the separators. These paintbrushes have been amazing. They clean up really easily, which is great, and then you can protect them as you're on the go, and that string just collapses, so you can actually tighten it however you want, when it's open, when it's closed, which is great. So I don't put this actually back in here. Instead, depending on what I want to take with me, I start with my books and I pack them in there, and I slide them all to one side so they fit pretty evenly. This last one that I recently added has been making it bulge a little bit, so sometimes I won't take that with me, especially since it's just a practice. And then I take my smaller pieces and I start to add them in. I can hook my pen to the outside. I even went and bought a couple of watercolors that are already wet, but you do have to add extra water to, but this way they're small, and that's what I actually used on this, with a little bit of extra watercolor from some other kits. But I just thought these were beautiful. These are by Danielle Smith, and they just have worked really well. So this is Opaire Pink, and this is Cobalt Teal Blue, and they were just gorgeous. So I can slide them right down in there also, along with any other little supplies that I can find. And I actually keep this standing because this pen that I've attached actually has to stay up and down, or it has a tendency to leak, is what I've heard. I have not had any issues with it yet, so that's been great. So I take that with me wherever I go. I can slide a couple of my pens and pencils in there if I want to. A lot of times I even keep these just in my backpack because I use them pretty much every day. The other thing that I went and got was my watercolors, and I've had this set since college. It's Winsor Newton, and I absolutely love it. It opens up, you can see I've used it a lot. It's got a little water tray that you can pop out. It's got a base that you can pop out to add extra water, so you can have a bunch of different areas. This actually can go off to the side if you want. So you can have just for water, you can mix colors, whatever you want. And then these cakes are actually refillable as well. So it makes it really nice, and it just pops all back together. But I was looking to try out some new watercolor supplies, and when I was on Amazon and online looking around, I actually found this watercolor set, which I thought was pretty cool. It pops open, and it's got a tray in it as well that you can take, and I can move to the side if I want to. I can have it on the table. It's got these little things that actually fit right into the circles, so if you want to, you can actually pop it to the side, or because it's got these sponges here, you can lay it on the table. Like I said, it comes with this watercolor paintbrush, and you actually can take the plug out, you fill this with water just at normal sink, whatever, and then it spins right on, and you've got your paintbrush, and you can squeeze it, the water comes right out. I can add water right to my palette if I want to. I can add over here. It's up to me. I've used it both ways, dipping it in water and having it ready to go with the water inside, and it's worked out pretty well. Now I know there's a lot of other fancier ones out there. I've got a couple other ones as well, but this has seemed to work pretty well for my travel kit so far. And then it's got a great set of watercolors. This is actually the set I used along with those 2 little miniature ones to play around with on the new watercolor set. So that has been a lot of fun. So to show you kind of some of the colors and things like that, I went online and I just found some random pictures of a few cows that I really like, so I grabbed those and I used them as my reference to draw up my picture. And this is the watercolor paper I use when I'm at home, so I grabbed it so that way I can make a nice big picture today. It's just Canson watercolor paper. I get it at Hobby Lobby. It's not too expensive, but it does do the job, which is great. You get 30 sheets in it as well. I usually get the 9x12, and it's 140 pound, and it just flips over. It's got a nice glue set on it that peels off pretty easily, and I chose to just draw the cow's head behind the fence post boards there. I thought that was really cool looking, like this one, but then I liked the face on this example better, so I started to play around with the different colors for his face and things like that. So since I'm at home, I'm actually going to play around with my paintbrushes here. Pop those back open and pull the string there, and I'm just going to set them up here so I can have them ready. I also already have a little cup of water ready. Since I'm at home, it makes it a little bit easier. That is the great thing about this travel paintbrush set though. I can go ahead and just stop wherever and grab some water and then sit down in a park and go ahead and paint, which is great. So I'm not going to actually use this today because I've already explained what that is about, but I would like you to be able to see the paintbrushes from the other set. So it has a couple of round brushes, a couple of flat brushes. This seems to be my favorite so far. It's a round number 8 just because of the weight, and the point is really nice, clean, sharp. And I'm going to grab my water here, and I'm just going to play around with some of the colors. I've already got some of those ones from Danielle Steele on here from last time when I was doing it, so I'm just going to reactivate them just by adding some water so you can kind of see it in action. So the best thing about watercolors, you can just reactivate them with a little bit of water and play around, and it's so easy to save supplies. A lot easier than acrylic or tempera. Just play around with them until it's completely empty, which is great. So I'm going to have that set there, ready to go. And I just thought I'd do kind of a crazy psychedelic cow here today just for fun, and go ahead and get some of my other colors ready over here. I like to have all my colors prepped ahead of time, otherwise if you run out it does not really work very well. I actually just dropped a little bit on the paper. So all I do, and this is what I actually have. This is from a diner. I just take whatever napkins are around, especially when I'm traveling, and I'll just take them because they're all folded up and nice and they can stay out of my way when I'm out at the park painting. Just really simple. You can even pick up a bunch at the store, but I just, whenever I'm out eating, I grab a little bit and take them with me, which is nice. So I've got a couple of blues and purples, a little bit of pinks ready here, and I'm just going to go ahead and start playing around so you can kind of see what the colors look like. And this is definitely by far really surprising to me, at least, the packaging and everything and how well it's worked out for the travel. I've not seen another kit other than the Winsor Newton one that I've liked so much and have actually kept a hold of. I've got a million of these little ones that I've used over the years that just did not work out very well, that I was not excited about after that first try. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay down some color here so you can kind of see. And I'm just going to do a basic wash right on top of my cow. A little bit extra blue here. And whenever I get new supplies like this, I like to play around with them at home first. That way I feel comfortable when I go out. It's always a little nerve-wracking when you're at the park and people are walking by and you're trying to paint with something new and you're just not sure how it's going to work out. So I like to be prepared and have a good idea of how it's going to work for me and have a good setup ready. So there is his body, just a quick blue. And I want to do a little bit of a bluish purple, I think, on his ears and stuff. So I've got a little bit of that lighter blue here, and I'm just going to play around with the top of the ear. And I've actually mixed it with that darker blue, so that way it doesn't have a huge difference between the two, just to kind of start it off, and then I can go back in and play around with it, because that dark blue is going to get darker as well as I add more and more layers. Just kind of outline everything, get it laid out, especially it'll be easier for you guys to see. This is the other thing I like about the little travel books. You don't have these huge pictures that you're trying to fill in super quickly. What I was hoping was that he would kind of fade off the picture here. This side would be a little darker, and then the other side would be a little bit lighter. So that's called a gradient wash, where you can just keep adding water basically, and it gets lighter and lighter and lighter as you go over. Which you wouldn't think takes a lot of skill, but if you are not paying attention, it can dry funny, you can not have enough color, and it can leave little patches, so you really got to make sure you're paying attention. We're going to see if this will work. It'll do what I'm thinking in my head, which is always a struggle, because you have this great vision in your head and you're never sure if it's going to turn out or not. Not bad. I feel like there's a little bit of a line here, so I'm going to go in and add some extra glue, move it around a little bit, see if I can get it to blend in the best. Now, I'm not going to finish this painting during this video. I just want to kind of show you some of the colors and how well the supplies work. I am going to try to show you a finished product later on when I can get all of the details and things like that. That way you don't have to watch the whole video if you're just looking for a quick look on the idea here. Give it a little bit on the other ear. Give it to blend in. So, they're smooth, they transition really nicely. I was very excited about how well these work. Being a big fan of Winsor Newton, I've just never really found other ones that I've been